darkness, the vast, endless shore of black gas and unseen stars. A lone scout craft glides through the void, its engines hushed whispers against the suffocating void. Inside, two stormtroopers clamp helmets to consoles, nervous blood pumping in their ears. Their voices rumble as they refer to the ship's destination, a desolate desert world called Jakku. They're hunting, a cleanup job to retrieve secrets the First Order believes this planet hides. Within the star-specked emptiness, a colossal star destroyer slices through the scene, harbinger of imperial rebirth. Troops troop aboard, laden with purpose. Beneath its looming shadow, a pilot launches an X-Wing, old tech, yet still fast, still fighting. Poe Dameron breathes urgency into every thrust as he races toward the ship, demanding to know why the galaxy whispers about a map capable of guiding one to Luke Skywalker. The Jedi vanished after his nephew's rise and fall. A dogfight ignites. TIE fighters swarm Poe, wings slashing light. He barrels through them, outrunning missiles, his senses taut. But danger comes from behind. Poe maneuvers one trick too far or two. A crimson shot rips through his ship. It trembles. The cockpit floods with alarm. Systems fail. His last thought, the map. Outside, someone watches. A woman with narrow eyes, helmet angle for threat identification. Captain Phasma, cold chrome armor, silent command. She gives orders, and Tito, a scrappy scavenger, scuttles into the wreckage-strewn dunes. He scavenges, mechanical eyes seeking value in ruin. Meanwhile, on Jakku's surface, Sabeks and boats come and go. Shantytown dwellers trade scrap, bargain for fuel. In the marketplace, Rey threads through, her eyes alert, golden brown hair pulled free. A scavenger's instinct, a ballet of survival. Her morning began at the Toydarian wreck, a burned X-Wing, half buried like an ancient tomb. Rey has claimed the flaps as food stores, the circuit boards as parts. She's alone, a child once abandoned when she was 5, and since then, fuel lines, scrap missions, the crash site were her world. Elsewhere, Poe Dameron wakes beside the burning embers of his ship. His ship explodes mid-fall, bursting into flame. Black smoke trudges skyward. Poe escapes in the pod as the fighter becomes a meteorite. He plunges into desert, broken and wounded. At the same time, Rey returns home, sweat glistening. She feeds her speeder, oils its pistons. A sudden tremor shakes the compound. She freezes, hand on tool. The ground ruptures. She looks outward, sand blasts, debris showers down. Overhead, a crimson sheet rips through the blue haze of morning. Poe's escape pod pierces the atmosphere. It thunders. Rey watches eyes wide. The pod slams. A metal fragment smolders nearby. Rey's impulse defies caution. She throws a jacket over her grime, pulls her speeder close. The engine roars. Dust billows. She races. The pod's top lies cracked, spilled components smoke. Poe groans inside. Rey glances. A moment hangs. Who is he? A pilot? An enemy? She kneels beside him. Poe groans. Rey slams her palm on his chest. No response. Then life. Poe's eyes flutter open. They lock. Rey's steady gaze offering help. Poe grunts and climbs free. Two broken travelers on the desert sand, chance allies. Neither knows the other's story, but survival binds them. Behind, a rail shot screeches. A rolling freight cart, overseen by herders. Workers cluster, urging the cart along Galgrind rails. A figure on foot tilts pickaxe. A shift of danger, stormtroopers. They come fast, helmeted silhouettes, guns raised. Poe's unknown identity makes him immediate threat. Rey shifts Poe low. She draws her hurting staff, swings. Stormtroopers hesitate until their blaster cuts the air. Poe fires back with the sidearm Rey gave him. Shields flare, sand erupts around them. Rey has never pulled a trigger like this. Poe has never known fear like this. They dive behind the cart. She helps him load blaster clips. Between ricocheting shots, they sprint toward the cantina's half-broken doors. Inside, a quake of disbelief. Scavengers freeze. Drop tools rattle the floor. Stormtroopers crash through. Rey shoos Poe behind an overturned table. Blaster bolts slam wood. Poe returns fire. Rey lifts a food tray, hurls it. It smashes, scattering metal. A distraction. Poe tosses a thermal detonator. A muffled blast. Smoke and sirens. They flee out the back, weaving through carts and cables. Outside again, speeder bike parked. Poe leaps on. Rey slings herself behind. As they tear away, the desert becomes a rally. Steam vents, shifting panels, sandblasts. Stormtroopers scatter. Their leader, FN-2187, commands advance. Others hesitate. They're not sure who this girl is or which code she broke. Poe guns the speeder. It jerks. The dunes speed past. Rey holds tight. Dust, burning engines, heartbeats. She glances at Poe, injured yet determined. Poe's voice croaks, "Thank you." Rey glances away, flushing. They disappear one moment. The troopers secure the crash site. FN-2187 approaches, kneels to inspect Poe's pod. He opens a panel. His mirrored mass clouds. He extracts data, cards, codes. He pockets them. The First Order now has most of the map, but not all. They leave, calling extraction. Night falls. Poe and Rey finally stop near a rock ridge. Poe inspects his leg, shallow wound. Rey tears cloth. He winces. She ties it. They stare at the blazing horizon. Two fugitives with no home, but something bigger pulled them together. Poe glances skyward. They have part of the map. He coughs, throat raw. "I must stop them." Rey watches. "I'll help." She nods, resolve lighting her eyes. He tries accessing a datapad. A fragment of the map sits there. A swirling star, one planet missing data. Poe's finger traces between. Starkiller Basin. "That's where Luke is. I need to deliver this to the Resistance." Rey tightens her jaw. "Where is it?" Poe struggles, but pain wins. He collapses. Rey grips his shoulder. She balances, grit framing her face. "We'll get you to Resistencia," she whispers. He manages a nod. Above, a star streaks across cosmos, the force stirring. The quiet before the storm becomes thunder. The desert night air clung to them like a cloak, heavy with dust and the distant hum of distant traffic across the Jakku wastelands. Rey knelt beside Poe's collapsed form, breathing deeply against the smell of burnt circuitry and old metal. His breathing was shallow, but steady, enough to buy the time they needed. Rey checked the datapad again. The half-map shimmered, drawn in blue holographic strokes. One planet remained unknown. A planet whispered in Resistance files but unseen now. She tucked the datapad into her pocket, wrapped Poe in a rough blanket patched from scavenged fabric, and began the trek across the dunes toward the faint neon glow of Naima Outpost. Footsteps behind them. They paused. A pair of Jawas flitted from dune to dune. Tiny, beeping scavengers, eternally curious. One pointed at Poe's thermal detonator. Rey held it close, wary, but the Jawas merely looked, then disappeared into darkness. Their presence raised alarm. Scavengers often traded to the highest bidder. Was the First Order paying attention? Rey and Poe slipped through narrow alleys in Naima, the ramshackle warren of shops and containers buzzing even at night. Travelers napped on crates. Merchants slept in hammocks slung amid shipping containers. The neon of signs sputtered, promising parts, fuel, water, and work. They reached a low-slung cantina. A holovid played slowly on a screen above the door, an old broadcast of a happier time in the galaxy. Inside, Rey found Temmin Snap, Wexley, a pilot with smudged goggles and a nervous grin. He ran his hands through his hair, approached Rey quietly. "You're late," he said. "Poe's hurt." Rey nodded. Snap ushered her and Poe inside, guiding them to a cramped back room. Rey set Poe on a cot. Snap produced a med droid, its ocular sensors glowing aqua, its arms nimble. They prodded Poe open, vasocuffs on forearm, automatic stims injected. Poe groaned, his eyelids fluttering. Rey watched and sensed something shift inside her. This pilot, wounded and isolated, had chosen to fight. She felt for him, not just for the map, but for the hope he represented. Hours passed. Poe finally woke, blinked at a white ceiling. Rey sat in a chair next to him, exhaustion in her features. "You made it," he rasped. She nodded. "We should have left sooner." Poe sat up, pain pulling him down. "No. We needed," he swallowed, "to delay them." She flipped on the datapad. "Here," she touched a flickering star. "They have part of this." He traced the flickered world. "They need the rest. And I need to get this to General Leia's fleet." Rey closed her eyes. I'll take you there. Both felt the weight of promise. An unspoken vow. Miles away, aboard the First Order Star Destroyer Final Judgment, General Hux paced before a gathering of officers. Screens showed the Jakku planet, the village they'd obliterated, the speeder fleeing into night. Hux's red hair glowed like embers. We have the map fragments, he said, his voice cold. The last piece is in Resistance hands on Jakku. Find it. Bring me Luke Skywalker, or his remains. Do not fail. Captain Phasma clicked her boot. Sir, the desert element is in pursuit. Hux nodded. Then make that pursuit absolute. We're extracting every scrap of intel. He turned and swept from the room. Back at the cantina, Rey and Poe planned their escape. Snap hovered. We can't stay. The First Order troopers will be swarming soon. Poe looked fragile. Let's go. Rey handed him a scavenged desert cloak. Here. He fastened it. I owe you. She pulled down her hood. Racing through slums toward a hidden hangar, they slipped inside a battered freighter. Rey's fingers found the ignition. Engines coughed awake. Poe steadied himself on the control yoke. They soared into the night sky, Rey at the helm, Poe beside her. Stars blurred above, they soared into the enormous wreckage of starliners and ships, the infamous junkyard of Naima. Blaster fire pinged off hull plates below. They banked hard, twisting through debris to lose pursuit. Inside the freighter's hold, Poe passed a data chip to Rey. Give this to Leia's fleet. I'll join when I can. She held the chip tight. Go! He nodded, though pain hit his torso. He slumped forward, and Rey caught him. Save yourself, he whispered. The Resistance. She cut him off. No. We're in this together. They touched foreheads, two souls connected through war and destiny. Poe looked at her, eyes fierce. Then let's start by getting off Jakku. Moments later, the freighter lurched as stormtroopers breached the entry ramp. Phasma's silhouette marched inside. She paused at the helm corridor. It glowed with dim emergency lights. Troopers moved behind her. Within the cockpit, Rey recognized her code, our forward droid. She pressed buttons rapid fire. Engines roared. Bulkheads closed. The ship lurched upward. Glass cracked around Phasma's foot, but the cockpit sealed. Troopers' faces stared through the viewport. Rey pressed back. Poe gripped her hand. Punch it! She slammed the throttle. Behind, speakers echoed. Captain Phasma, a voice bellowed. She stood upright, calibrated blaster in hand, and fired with a single shot of blue energy. It struck the cockpit plating, shards of reinforced glass flashing. Rey ignored the vent broken, booted them through the pyres of debris. They broke free just in time, into the upper atmosphere. Above Jakku, the freighter leveled, thrusters engaged. Poe set coordinates, Masanek Station, hidden among asteroids above. Inside the cramped hold, passengers stirred. Scavenged farmers, wounded traders. They cheered as they escaped First Order encroachment. Rey breathed out. Poe winced. Lights dimmed. Coffee, he whispered. She nodded and rummaged through supplies. While brewing, she looked out viewport at Jakku, a small dot below now. A pang of isolation struck her, but also hope. A future away from the sun-scorched dunes. They drank in silence. Finally, Poe cleared his throat. Who are you? She paused with the mug halfway. Then she set it down. I'm Rey. I'm nobody. She fought tears. He studied her. That it? She closed her eyes. I stay alone. I fix speeder bikes. I scavenge. That's me. He reached across table. Then you're my pilot. And my friend. She blinked. His sincerity was daunting. Before more could be said, alarm klaxons blared. A console lit up with red staccato. Poe rushed to it. Incoming. First Order fighters. His jaw clenched. Rey jumped to co-pilot station. Shields. He tapped rapidly. Partial. Outside, TIE fighters streaked. Poe said evasive. They flew through an asteroid field, rocks drifting like ghostly islands. TIEs fired and missed. Engines exploded on rocks. One cut off, leaving a trail of fire. Rey guided the freighter skilled as a desert fox, twisting, diving, smoke plumes trailing. A bombing run from above. A torpedo ripped hull. The ship shuddered violently. Rey clipped Poe's shoulder. We can't outrun them. He looked at her, death in his eyes. She braced. A roar. A heavy mass. Chewbacca growls rumbling deep in his chest. The freighter's side burst with lightsaber glow, kyber flash and anger as Chewbacca and Finn, disheveled stormtrooper turned rebel, fought back. The freighter jolted as impact reverberated through its corridors. Red lights flashed, sirens shrilled. Rey sprang into action, hands steady on controls. Poe, pain etched across his face, staggered toward the cabin door. Between shudders, he called out, voice tense. We need help now. A thunderous roar echoed through the hull, feral, guttural. Poe's eyes widened. Rey whipped around, startled. With a crash of metal, a tall, matted figure burst through the bulkhead. Chewbacca, massive and imposing, barreling into the cockpit with lethal intent. His bowcaster slid from his grip as he grabbed a surprised trooper, hurling him against the wall and crushing armor with unrelenting force. Another stormtrooper flicked out, firing, but the blast caught a panel, lighting the ceiling aflame. Chewbacca howled, a roar of pure defiance. Behind them, the stall door creaked open again. A figure in scavenged stormtrooper armor stepped through, helmet off, breathing ragged and urgent. Rey froze as he pulled off his mask, his face pale but determined. How did you even? Poe gasped. The man torn of allegiance, now rebel, stared down at the trooper Chewbacca threw. I'm Finn, formerly FN 2187. His eyes met Rey's. That was my trooper. Stunned silence. Finn's voice cracked. I can't not anymore. They attacked Jakku. They killed so many. I'm done. He stepped forward, removed a blaster from his armor. Anything I can do. Chewbacca growled softly, stepping back. The cockpit was silent save the hum of broken, wiring and flickering lights. Poe wheezed. We need pilot skills. His words barely above a rasp. Finn looked from Poe to Rey, then at the emergency panel. Without hesitation, he pulled open the circuit housing and punched red override switches. Alarms silenced. Lights steadied. He moved with adrenaline-fueled agility, rerouting power. Within seconds, he leaned back, sweat beading on his brow. Flight ready, Finn announced. The cockpit remained tense but hopeful. Rey took a breath. Thank you. Her voice soft, but urgent. We're heading to Car. Resistance base. Finn straightened, voice steady. Star Destroyers won't let you land there. We need cover. Chewbacca growled agreement and stepped over to the comm panel, fixing it with practiced ease. The Wookiee's voice rolled low and basic. Even through grunts, Rey felt the unspoken bond forming, this ragtag crew, each fueled by personal loss and defiance, united behind Poe's mission. They climbed into the cockpit together, forming a fragile crew of fighters. Finn at engineering, Chewbacca at weapon systems, Poe still pale but alert, Rey flying. Outside, TIE fighters swarmed like locusts. Missiles tracked their retreat, but Chewbacca's precise targeting sent two spinning away. Still, the freighter buckled as another explosion rocked them. An overhead turret flashed. They boarded! Screamed one of the passengers in the hold. Rey's heart thundered. Cover me! Finn shouted, ducking through the cockpit doorway with borrowed blaster. He galloped down the corridor. Moments later, distant blasts and shouting. Then Finn stumbled back, breathing ragged but victorious. 2 stormtroopers down. He locked eyes with Poe. Not on my ship. Poe managed a half-smile. We've got hope. Miles above, the freighter emerged from asteroid cover. Ahead loomed Car, rocky moons, hidden facilities, battered resistance transports. Rey set a descent vector, Chewbacca powered the shields up. Finn guided a damaged resistance transport out. Fighters flanked them, X-Wings and A-Wings ready to escort. A crackle came over the comm. A calm, composed voice. General Organa here. The crew stiffened. Leia's voice. Assist the fast vessel. Priority. Pilot Dameron, map carrier. Bring them in. She paused, voice heavy. And the stormtrooper, he stays. Rey exhaled. Poe met her gaze, gratitude shining. Finn straightened and stared out the viewport. I'm not one of you, he said, voice soft. But now I am. Their boardrooms deep in the First Order flagship Final Judgment, Countess Amilyn Holdo and General Leia Organa watched landing footage. Holdo poised, high collar, her violet hair coiled. Leia silent, proud yet heavy. Behind them, Holographic star maps glowed. Holdo frowned. They'll reach Tkar within the hour. Leia's gaze turned to a second holotank. If they haven't already sent Kylo Ren. Within Tkara's sprawling cavern system, blue-green luminescent mushrooms lit warped, ancient walls. Resistance fighters scurried, repairing ships, packing gear for the coming assault. The place buzzed with urgency. The freighter docked. Paramedics rushed Poe toward a med triage. Rey followed on the ramp. Finn stayed beside her, awkward but steady. Chewbacca's growl rumbled through comm. Rey felt a presence behind her. A small figure padded forward. BB-8. The spherical droid beeped frantic tones, projecting a slice of swirling star charts as Poe had entered the hold. Rey gasped. A vision of coordinates. Before she could react, the projection folded into internal memory. BB-8 rolled to her feet, chirping advice. General Leia approached. She surveyed the crew, worn, resolute. "Thank you," Leia told Rey, "for saving my son's map." Her voice trembled with memory and loss. Rey's eyes widened. "I was just helping." Leia smiled sadly. "You will help now." She turned to Finn. "Stormtrooper, thank you for your courage." Finn nodded, voice quiet. "Just trying to do right." Leia turned to Poe, where medic droids inserted stimulants. "Pilot Dameron, good to see you breathing." He managed a weak salute. Leia faced all. "We don't know where Luke is. This map could be manipulated to lure us." She paused. "Kylo Starkiller has plans. We've seen them in the Outer Rim." She looked at Rey, urgency burning. "He may be close." Rey swallowed. "I want to go find him." Finn's jaw clenched. "I'm coming." Leia gazed deeply at them all, steel in her blue eyes. "This is bigger than all of us. Prepare for departure immediately." A chamber deep within Tkar glowed with stone ruins. A soft breeze drifted through. A hooded figure knelt near the door, an ancient sentinel. He rose slowly. His hands trembled as he straightened his robes. He lifted his face, white hair, pointed ears, faded brown eyes. Luke Skywalker. He stood, silent among stones and shadows. Behind him, an old lightsaber lay on an altar, silent, cold. Luke reached out and touched its hilt, reverie in his expression. The map glowed faintly at its edge. He closed his eyes. The Force whispered, uncertain, fractured. A distant call reached his soul. Someone out there, drawn by this puzzle, this return. Luke stared at the galaxy's stars beyond his cave, a single figure approaching. The Force stirred. The subterranean tunnels of Tkar thrummed with unspoken tension. Resistance fighters scurried, securing gear, recalibrating engines. Above, the once-shattered book lay open on Leia's desk, the map swirling data inscribed across its pages. Holopings lit coordinates scribbled in Poe's handwriting at the journey's onset. In a communications hub, Rey stood quietly watching streams of intel scroll past. Behind her, Leia, flanked by General Holdo, spoke of reconnaissance data. "The First Order scanning for any sign of Luke. We cannot allow them to find his hiding place before we do." Rey could almost taste the dread in the air, as though the cavern itself held its breath. She opened her mind, drawing whispers from the Force, lessons she'd only begun to comprehend, and felt the weight of destiny hanging. She'd survived on Jakku. Now she stood at the center of war. On the bridge of a Mon Calamari cruiser orbiting Tkar, Poe sat recovering, his right arm bandaged. He watched view screens of Star Destroyers mass beyond comm's range. A comm blurted urgency. "Squad's ready, sir." Poe nodded carefully. Beside him, remarked, was General Organa. Her posture taut, hair falling in neat coils. "Poe, I want the X-Wings ready to cover a run to hyperspace point near Octu. If the First Order presses this base, we'll need a fast exit." He saluted. "Yes, ma'am." Leia turned away to a window. Through glass, jagged moons held secrets. Poe's eyes found Rey moving through the hangar, uniformed now, blaster strapped at side, BB-8 rolling loyally behind. Rey's footsteps took her to the launch bay. In the shadows, Chewbacca hoisted cargo crates. Finn lugged armaments. Rey paused to study relics, a battered orange and white astromech, weapons and flight suits. Poe waved them over. He pointed to an X-Wing with gray stripes, the very ship Rey salvaged earlier. "This one's yours," he said softly. "You earned it." Rey swallowed fast. She reached out and touched the cockpit canopy. Memories surfaced. Her first flight, the desert's roar, longing for something beyond. She traced the emblem of the Resistance on the hull. "I'll fly us home." Finn grinned. "Can't let you have risks alone." Chewbacca roared, patting Finn's shoulder. They boarded. Rey slid into the seat. Poe fastened the harness on the fighter's side. Finn leaned over, gripping her shoulder. "Trust the Force." Rey nodded. From above, a Navy squad of Resistance pilots joined them. Snap Wexley, Jessica Pava, Tali Lintra. Through headsets, they plotted a high-speed recon jump. On the Silver Bridge, Leia and Holdo watched as a map hover activated. Several star systems lay in view. Starkiller base marked only by blank space, surrounded by flank territories. A fleet lurked at threshold. Leia turned to Holdo, tension etched. "Finn and Rey may be our pathfinder." Her eyes reflected distant stars. "May everything ride on them." As the starfighters soared into space, the base's shield gates opened. They broke through into the black, engines blazing. Rey's fighter shot forward, tailing Poe's lead. Sensors flickered. Not yet the final destination, but enough. BB-8's presence pinged a signal. Poe held a datapad projecting coordinates clustering. "Rey, check run." Poe's voice came steady. "If you see Starkiller, mark it." Rey flicked switches, eyes narrowing. A few parsecs ahead, muted glow shimmered. Icy cold, calculating. Not a star, but a weapon. She froze. That's it." Through comms, Finn's voice. "Stay sharp." But Rey's breath caught. Below, first-order radar pulses lit like distant fireworks. A single TIE soared close, closer, hovering. They snapped into formation as Poe rolled, showing the ship's underside. A burst of green fire cracked. Poe pulled hard, evading. Rey followed. The fleet behind them engaged, shields behind. "Push hard," Poe said. Rey jammed the console. Knurled controls responded like they were alive. The X-Wing pitched upward into hyperspace path. Swirling lights dragged them. On the bridge, alarms blared as first-order interdictor blasts shook the cruiser. Leia's face hardened. "Deploy the evacuation fleet, now." Holdo pressed rapid commands. Plotting exit trajectory through Hoth corridor. She paused. "Engage." Back in the fighter, Rey punched the hyperdrive key. The stars darted. With a violent lurch, the X-Wing surged out of normal space, a beam of motion, carried by hope and fear. Rey gripped controls, breathing in the sensation of warp. Poe patted her shoulder before faded to stillness on visor. Finn adjusted wing systems, watching datapad for Resistance fleet coordinates. "Got it," he breathed. "Course locked." Rey steadied. "Let's bring them hope." Hours later, hyperspace exit jolted them into calm star field, nerves on edge. Ahead, a scattered fleet of Resistance ships, Mon Calamari cruisers, Corellian corvettes transports. Even in stasis, outbound fire trails glimmered. One cruiser bore deep scars, impact craters visible even from afar. Still, small lights glowed as escape shuttles descended toward Car. Poe's voice crackled. "We made it." He grinned through pain. Rey exhaled, relieved, hope rippling like waves. Finn reached forward and tapped her arm. "We did." On the bridge's long view screen, Leia stared proudly at them. She clasped Rey's hand. Rey's eyes flicked to stars, and a quiet dawn rose inside her. The mission's deep, the journey only begun. In the distance, past ships coordinating departure, distant pings of lightsaber humming rose, echoes of a coming confrontation far beyond Starkiller. Emerald lights stuttered across the bridge monitors of the Mon Calamari flagship Raddus, where General Leia Organa stood, face shadowed by concern. The evacuation of Tkar had nearly finished, but now a new front demanded all their attention. Leia traced a glimmering projection of Starkiller base, its gravitational armament pulsing with lethal promise. Every ship would feel the surge of its might once fired. On the flight deck, once scattered Resistance pilots hustled. Some nursed pride in grim silence, others shared determined glances. Poe, in his pilot jacket, leaned against a console. He winced when shifting, a hiss of pain, but forced a direct nod to Rey. Their eyes met. Silent promise that this mission would meet end or victory, but not fear. Rey stood with Finn and Chewbacca by the ramp. The orange glow of Red 5's engine cast her shadow long. R4D, Poe's droid, zipped between their legs, humming nervous beeps. Rey closed her eyes, felt presence within, the Force, stirring, weaving energy around nothingness and hope. She exhaled, lifted her chin, grabbed her helmet, and stepped forward. Behind them, Chewbacca rumbled and nudged Finn. The ex-stormtrooper nodded and squared his shoulders. The living bridge crew, pilot, co-pilot, warrior, bound by what they'd seen and dared. General Holdo's voice crackled in their comm earpieces. All craft proceed. Support fire when ready, then regroup at Rendezvous Sector 6. The tone was auburn steel. The wings rolled out from the hangar into space's black canvas. Fighters from various bases joined formation. Scale, Liffen, and Brax united against the greatest threat yet. As they cleared the bay, hyperspace flares beyond indicated another flight heading out. Likely Finn's old friend Rose, though she was not with them yet. With a hum and flash, the fighters slipped into hyperspace. 2 by 2. Rey's knuckles were white on the controls. She stole a glance at Poe in the adjacent cockpit. Still breathing, still defiant. Moments turned into minutes before the star field ahead shifted. Star snapped into view, then a colossal sphere loomed. Starkiller base. Ice-white metal snaking around its axis. The base spread like a malignant egg, pulsing like it was alive. Rey swallowed. Here we go. The pair banked left, weaving through swarms of ties, sleek, black flashes of aggression. Blaster bolts ignited across the void. Chewbacca, locked in weapons, roared and fired. Explosions lit the cold steel of the base's surface. 2 ties spiraled into molten wreckage. Another vomited fire before breaking apart. Finn steadied communications. Escort down to 2-8. We're still good. He nodded to Chewie. Set blasting pattern. Target turret's nearest run strip. Graffiti smoke trailed as fighters leapt into assault. Poe's voice came. Bombers inbound behind you. A single dawning star became a ship the size of a moon's heartbeat, the Resistance bomber. It carried the payload that might end the base once and for all. The bomber sped, tore the planetary shield gate. Ties encircled it. Rebel fighters sped ahead, drawing fire, deflecting bolts, letting bombers slip through. Explosions rippled across the field. Rey's breath constricted. One bolt grazed her wing. Sparks shot, alarms blared. She jammed a switch, stabilizers hummed. A close call, but she pushed on. Ahead, pressure mount. Through base's tower eye, a pulse of white light streamed. Shields flared outwards. The bomber Dove dropped its payload. A hush, a heartbeat, and then collapse. The shield gate collapsed inward first, then reverse. The planet's icy crust buckled, cratered, then died in fiery bloom. The fighter wing pulled away, rescue formation. They flew swift toward safe lanes. Suddenly, a tremor shook the ship. The base triggered fire. Twin bursts, vast enough to flash into space like collapsing suns. The beams converged, traveling outward in laser arcs. Resistance squads shook, fighters jolted. Rey's sensors flashed warnings. Incoming beam. She threw her starfighter aside. A distant explosion tossed fragments through space. Debris spilled like rain before the wind. One shot stripped a fighter behind them, sucked it into the beam's path. The void snapped. Finn yelled, "We need to fall back." Poe overcome, voice tight. "Now." Presidents to retreat point echo. He pulled back, faltering. "Fall back," his voice strained. Rey opened her mouth, but a flash painted her face. The beam roared past as if she didn't exist. Her starfighter rattled. She spat words that burned. "This isn't over." The shield had failed. The beam route widened. Another shot scanned across but passed to the side. They beat out a retreat path. Broken hulls, spiraling defenders casting streaks of flame. Fighters chased rearguard. Chewbacca howled through comm. Finn kept pace, pistols ready. They emerged clear, then jumped to hyperspace behind the fleeing fleet, all shaken but alive. Only half their people made it back. Back at car, repairs ran constant. Blaster scorches filled bulkheads. Medics treated pilots. Chewbacca strode past and leaned into Poe's table. Poe winced but offered a wobbling thumbs up. Rey disembarked, limp but upright. Finn nearly dropped the datapad he carried. Leia caught her in a rare moment. Embrace, quiet lips pressed in mother's blessing. "Thank you." Words thick with relief and sorrow. She stepped back, lost in contemplation. Amid cheering and tears, Rey looked up to the sky, no longer the infinite mundane above Jakku. It burned with stories yet told. She reached into her pocket, found the map memory chip Poe had given. Rey closed her palm around it like it was living. Then, at home's edge, she slipped it into her boot. In the shadows of the Resistance hangar, the hooded figure at Octa pressed his hand to the altar and felt tremors far away, the pulse of old heroes, new sacrifices. The lightsaber glowed once, faint, and then died. Luke stood silent, listening. A rhythm, a heartbeat, echoed in the Force. Rey's presence, Finn's courage, Poe's sacrifice, it all converged. The Force insisted. The war demanded continuation. Luke's voice, hoarse but unbroken, fell from his lips. "Rey," it was more question than whisper. "It begins again." A cold, silent dawn broke over the hidden island of Octu. Waves crashed against jagged coastal cliffs, swirling mist that clung to the earth. Inside the ancient temple courtyard, a lone figure stood, hooded, distant, and aged by solitude. He gazed out beyond the sea, as if sensing everything poised to come. Below, Rey, Finn, Poe, Chewbacca, and a small escort disembarked from a battered transport. Leia walked beside them, regal and worn, her silver hair braided in defiance of time. They walked the sacred stone path in sober procession, expectance heavy in the air. Rey's breath caught. The island's living presence resonated through the Force. She closed her eyes, drew air, braced for what lay ahead, foul path of destiny converging on that remote point. They reached the courtyard's edge, a series of stone bas-relief carvings depicting the Force's balance, an ancient testament to the first Jedi. Rey's footsteps slowed. Her heart thundered. Leia came to a gentle halt beside her. "May the Force guide you," Leia whispered. She placed her hand over Rey's. Rey squeezed, eyes glassy. Chewie stood guard, growling low. Finn remained near the rear, the datapad, now blank after upload, clutched to his chest. Poe steadied next to Rey, jaw clenched with equal parts fear and resolve. The hooded figure turned, robe sliding back, revealing shoulders stooped by age, but straight with will. A silver shock of hair caught the diffused light. Luke Skywalker lowered his hood. His deep blue eyes held storms of grief and flickers of hope. They faced each other, girl from the desert, man of legend. Rey's breath trembled. "Master Skywalker?" Luke's voice was quiet, measured as water. "Rey." He paused, letting the name linger. "You carry hope in your bones." He looked past them, gaze resting on Leia. "And you," he said to Leia, "you have brought it home." Leia's eyes softened. "Not home. His home." Her eyes flicked to Luke. "Come back, Luke." Luke swallowed. "This path. I follow the fear inside me. I thought I could prevent darkness. But I failed." His voice cracked. "I should never have left." Rey stepped forward. "I want to learn." Her voice stood steady, but her chest heaved. Luke's eyes sharpened. "You have the map. The path brought you here. But the Force, it's more than direction. It's presence. Connection." He met her gaze. "Show me what you can feel." Rey closed her eyes and lifted her hands. Wind rose around them. Leaves spun in arcs. She felt the Force, the echo of power within. A tremor of mastery. With concentration, she guided a stone pebble to lift. It hovered, suspended. The courtyard's stillness brightened. Luke's lips quivered. Strong but unfocused. "Come. We begin." He gestured to the broken steps, leading up to the main temple door. Rey ascended. Poe, Finn, and Chewbacca followed. Only Leia stayed behind, watching the meeting of light. Her eyes closed. She drew breath. "May the Force guide all of us," she said softly. Inside the temple, ancient glyphs glowed faintly. Rey entered first, then followed the others into the inner hall. Luke moved deliberately, pointing outward. "Feel the Force. All around, the current of life and death, of choice and consequence." Rey knelt. Fingers pressed the cold stone floor. She felt lines run through her, threads connecting her to that stone beneath, through island, to sea to sky. Tears streamed lightly. Luke placed a hand on her head. "This is only the beginning." Behind them, Finn watched. The ex-stormtrooper turned hero breathed steady. He looked at Rey, at Luke. A smile crept across his face. Poe quietly lowered his head in respect. They all turned as a gentle hum filled the cavern of vibration. A door slid open. Light spilled in from above. They looked up to see resistance fighters streaming in behind. Supporters, pilots, armed with hope and purpose, ready to start again. Leia followed at last, her face shining with defeat turned to calm. She surveyed them all, exhaled in relief faint but fierce. Luke walked to the front of the group. He raised his voice, quiet but commanding. The Force calls us not to celebrate survival, but to choose our next act. Rey stepped to his side. She tapped the map chip embedded in her cloak. Its holographic light arced across the ceiling. Coordinates, star systems, lines unfurled. The galaxy, alive, however fractured. The path forward. First step, Luke said. To rebuild the Jedi. To train, to learn balance. He looked at Finn. To those who choose, all are welcome. Luke's gaze shifted to Poe. To those who fly, who fight. He paused, his eyes filled with calm conviction. And to those who love, who lead. He looked directly to Leia. She exhaled. They stood together, small in the grandeur of a temple, but monumental in unity. BB-8 rolled forward, spinning in celebration. Chewbacca rumbled a growl that felt like cheer. Finn drew an easy breath. Rey looked around at this broken crew, this family forged in adversity, and then back to Luke. He offered a pale smile. A new generation, he said. Stronger for our failures. Bright enough to carry the light. Rey lifted her head. Let's begin. Outside, the sun broke over the temple courtyard in dazzling promise. The island gave a roar and wind. Birds erupted from hidden perches and flew free. The First Order still lurked. Starkiller base may still burn. But here, in that moment, the light took hold. Above the sea, two small X-wings lifted in formation, diving upward towards sky and stars. The saga rebegins.